7 things spiritually awakened people quickly quit. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Have you ever felt like certain habits or patterns were quietly holding you back? Spiritually awakened people don't just grow, they shed. In today's video from Spiritual Wisdom, we're diving into 7 powerful things that awakened souls instinctively let go of on their journey to deeper peace, purpose, and inner power. These aren't just spiritual ideas. They are life-changing choices that anyone can apply. Which of these have you already released from your life? Let us know in the comments, and if something resonates with you, don't forget to share this with someone on the same path. Let's grow together. 1. Toxic relationships. In the path of spiritual awakening, an essential milestone is learning to recognize and step away from toxic relationships. Picture yourself on a journey towards inner peace and self-improvement, yet you encounter people who continually drain your energy and bring unnecessary turmoil into your life. In Stoicism, there is a strong emphasis on controlling our reactions and maintaining tranquility, regardless of external influences. This mindset is especially useful when dealing with toxic individuals. Toxic relationships involve people who consistently project negativity into our lives. They may be friends, family members, or colleagues who thrive on conflict or subtly erode our confidence and hinder our personal development. These types of connections can seriously affect our mental and emotional well-being. Much like trying to build on unstable ground, no matter how hard you try, the foundation remains weak. Consider the case of Sarah, a young professional focused on advancing her career. She has a colleague, Lisa, who constantly criticizes her work and fosters a hostile office environment. Sarah initially attempts to overlook Lisa's behavior, hoping it will improve. However, as the negativity persists, Sarah begins to feel overwhelmed and demotivated, impacting both her performance and peace of mind. It isn't until Sarah acknowledges the detrimental effects of this toxic dynamic and establishes boundaries that she regains her sense of balance and clarity. Reflect on your own relationships and encounters. Are there individuals who leave you feeling depleted or undervalued? Identifying these toxic influences is not about casting blame, but protecting your own well-being. By creating distance from such relationships, you not only safeguard your peace, but also open the door to healthier, more supportive connections that align with your spiritual awakening. Breaking free from toxic relationships can be challenging, but it's a crucial step in fostering your spiritual growth. It requires both bravery and self-awareness to recognize when a relationship no longer aligns with your best interests. Keep in mind, setting boundaries isn't about cutting people off abruptly. It's about making decisions that nurture your inner peace and well-being. If this resonates with you, let me know by commenting "Awakened" below. Your engagement helps us explore more aspects of spiritual growth and empowerment together. By addressing toxic relationships, you clear the path for a more peaceful and fulfilling life. This step not only enhances your spiritual awakening, but also mirrors the Stoic philosophy of focusing on your own responses and maintaining inner calm. Embrace the process of identifying and moving away from negativity as a vital part of your personal and spiritual evolution. 2. Ego-driven desires. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get caught up in the race for material success, recognition, and external validation. However, as you embark on a spiritual journey, it becomes evident that these pursuits, often driven by ego, tend to feel shallow and short-lived. Spiritual awakening urges you to shift your focus away from seeking approval from others and instead cultivate inner virtues and a sense of purpose. This transformation means valuing your character and personal growth over chasing surface-level accomplishments. Imagine someone who's always striving for promotions, likes on social media, and the admiration of others. While each milestone might offer a fleeting sense of achievement, the satisfaction quickly fades. In contrast, those on a path of spiritual awakening find lasting fulfillment by focusing on their inner development. This shift is similar to the teachings of Stoicism, where virtues such as wisdom and integrity take precedence over the pursuit of status and recognition. As you let go of these ego-driven desires, you begin to align more with your authentic self, making it easier to navigate difficult relationships, like those involving narcissistic personalities. Consider a modern example: a high-powered executive who's always chasing after more influence and recognition. They may have the prestigious job title and an enviable salary, yet they feel an underlying sense of emptiness. On the other hand, someone who prioritizes self-awareness and personal growth may live a simpler life, but experiences deeper, more lasting satisfaction. This change in mindset isn't about giving up ambition, but rather about redirecting it. By focusing on values like compassion, honesty, and humility, you come to realize that true happiness and contentment are found within, not from external achievements. As you reflect on your own journey, ask yourself, are your current goals driven by a need for external validation or a true sense of purpose? This reflection can help you identify where you might be prioritizing temporary desires over long-lasting values. The key takeaway here is to redirect your focus from seeking approval to fostering inner virtues. By embracing this change, you enrich your own life and improve your relationships, even with those who may not have your best interests at heart. Start this journey towards spiritual growth, and you'll find greater fulfillment and balance in life. If this message resonates with you, I invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications. Join our community as we dive deeper into aligning with our true selves and finding meaning from within. 3. The need for control. One of the key insights on the journey to spiritual awakening is the release of the need to control. In today's fast-paced world, where unpredictability and chaos often dominate, many find themselves clinging tightly to control as a way of managing stress and uncertainty. This desire to micromanage every situation and influence the actions of others can lead to a great deal of frustration and exhaustion. Ancient philosophies like Stoicism offer a timeless perspective on this challenge. They suggest that real freedom and peace come from accepting what lies beyond our control and focusing on what we can, primarily our own thoughts, emotions, and actions. Spiritually awakened individuals internalize this wisdom by surrendering their efforts to control external events or the behavior of others. Instead, they shift their focus inward, working to refine their responses to life's inevitable challenges and uncertainties. This doesn't mean they become passive or disengaged. Rather, it reflects a deep alignment with the natural rhythms of life, embracing its uncertainties with grace. By channeling their energy into self-awareness and self-mastery, they cultivate a sense of peace and resilience that transforms how they move through the world. In the context of our modern existence, this approach holds immense value. The relentless pursuit of control, whether in our careers or relationships, often leaves us feeling drained and disconnected. By loosening our grip on the need for control, we create space for more authentic connections and a richer, more meaningful experience of life. This shift also nurtures greater empathy and understanding, as it allows us to see beyond our own desires for certainty and embrace the unpredictable beauty of life. Adopting this mindset not only enhances personal tranquility, but also improves how we relate to others. It fosters a sense of openness and flexibility that makes navigating life's challenges less burdensome. When we release the constant urge to control, we step into a more spiritually aligned and harmonious existence. Are you ready to release the need for control and invite more peace and fulfillment into your life? If so, comment, "I am open to acceptance," and join this journey of transformation. Let's embrace the flow of life and discover inner peace together. 4. Fear of change. Letting go of the fear of change is essential for anyone seeking spiritual growth. Change can be intimidating, but for those on a path of spiritual awakening, learning to accept and flow with it is crucial. Drawing inspiration from Stoicism, which teaches that change is a natural and unavoidable part of existence, we come to realize that embracing change brings peace and emotional strength. In today's fast-paced world, resisting change often leads to stress, frustration, and unnecessary conflict, particularly when interacting with difficult people. However, by shifting our mindset and seeing change as an opportunity for growth, we can remain calm and grounded no matter what life throws our way. This shift in perspective not only improves personal relationships, but also paves the way for new experiences and opportunities. In the modern world, change is not just inevitable, but constant. Whether it's a new chapter in your career, shifts in relationships, or the uncertainty of daily life, those who embrace change can navigate transitions with greater ease and resilience. Stoic philosophy reminds us that while we cannot control everything around us, we can control how we respond. By focusing on the areas of life we can influence and letting go of what we cannot, we create a foundation of inner stability and purpose. This mindset is especially useful in today's unpredictable environments. Rather than clinging to old habits or fearing new challenges, spiritually awakened people see change as a path to personal growth and transformation. Additionally, recognizing that change is a natural part of life helps us deal more effectively with difficult situations and people. Instead of reacting with frustration or fear, a spiritually awakened person approaches these challenges with calm and adaptability. This outlook not only strengthens personal relationships, but also deepens self-awareness and emotional resilience. When we accept change with an open heart, we can move through life's ups and downs more gracefully, leading to a richer, more spiritually aligned existence. To conclude, the journey of spiritual awakening requires us to release fear and welcome change as an essential element of growth. By embracing the wisdom of Stoicism in our daily lives, we can transform how we face challenges and interact with the world, leading to a more balanced and enlightened way of being. Remember, change is not an obstacle, but a gift, an opportunity for self-development and spiritual evolution. Are you ready to embrace this shift and unlock your potential? If you're committed to welcoming change and leaving fear behind, Drop an "I embrace change" in the comments. Join us on this path to spiritual growth and learn to face life's transitions with grace and strength. 5. Negative self-talk. Let's explore a crucial aspect of spiritual awakening: breaking free from negative self-talk. As you embark on your path of manifestation, it becomes vital to understand how your internal dialogue shapes your reality. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, "I'm not capable," or "This is too hard for me"? These aren't just fleeting thoughts. They form the foundation of your beliefs, influencing your actions and, in turn, your ability to manifest what you truly desire. As Buddha wisely stated, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. Transforming these negative dialogues into positive affirmations is the key to unlocking your highest potential. Think of your mind as fertile soil. Each thought you entertain acts as a seed that takes root. Negative self-talk plants seeds of doubt and limitation, while positive affirmations cultivate growth, opportunity, and self-belief. By consistently replacing critical thoughts with empowering statements like "I am strong" or "I am worthy of success," you shift the narrative of your inner world. Over time, this practice aligns you with a mindset of abundance, making space for your goals to materialize. This process aligns closely with Stoic philosophy, which encourages mastering one's inner world. Just as the Stoics believed in controlling their responses and emotions, you too can train your mind to foster positivity and self-belief. Ask yourself, how often do you find your thoughts filled with self-doubt or insecurity? These thoughts aren't merely words, but are potent forces that shape your experience of the world. As Wayne Dyer wisely noted, you cannot control your life if you allow your mind to control you. By deliberately replacing negative thoughts with affirmations, you recondition your mind to support your journey of manifestation. This transformation takes time, but through consistent practice, it becomes second nature, leading to more effective manifestations. Consider how a child learns to ride a bike. They may fall countless times, but with persistence, they eventually succeed. In the same way, replacing negative self-talk with positive affirmations requires time and commitment. It's a process of retraining your brain to default to thoughts that support your goals. With practice, your mind will naturally align with opportunities instead of obstacles, and you'll begin to see the path to your desires open up before you. Marianne Williamson said it best: "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure." By silencing your inner critic and amplifying positive affirmations, you unlock your true power and set the stage for your manifestations to come to life. So how do you begin this shift today? Start by becoming mindful of your self-talk. Affirm to yourself, "I am rising above all negativity." When you notice a negative thought creeping in, consciously replace it with a positive one. For instance, if you catch yourself thinking, "I always fail," transform it into, "I am learning and growing with each experience." Keep a journal of your affirmations and review them regularly to reinforce this mindset. Over time, positive self-talk will become your natural habit, empowering your journey of manifestation and bringing you closer to your goals. Remember, the road to spiritual awakening and manifestation begins within. By recognizing and transforming negative self-talk, you attune yourself to the positive energy necessary to create the life you desire. As you embrace this inner transformation, you'll discover a stronger, more confident version of yourself, ready to attract abundance and joy. Are you prepared to fill your mind with positivity and watch your manifestations unfold? The power to create the life you envision is already within you. Welcome it with faith and conviction. 6. Societal expectations. The next shift that spiritually awakened individuals undergo is the decision to break free from societal expectations. In a world where success is often measured by status, wealth, and external accomplishments, spiritually aligned people choose to prioritize their inner values over these external standards. They realize that true satisfaction comes not from conforming to what society deems successful, but from living authentically and faithfully to their core beliefs and purpose. For example, while the world may praise high-paying jobs or the latest technological gadgets, spiritually awakened people find deeper satisfaction in pursuing a path that aligns with their values, even if it challenges conventional norms. Another important shift involves releasing the need for external validation. In today's digital age, where likes, shares, and followers can determine a person's self-worth, the pressure to be approved can be overwhelming. Spiritually awakened individuals realize that their worth comes from within, not from the opinions of others. This realization fosters a strong sense of self, rooted in confidence and inner peace, rather than the pursuit of validation from external sources. A significant shift also occurs in how spiritually awakened individuals view comparison and competition. In a society that often measures success by how we compare ourselves to others, whether it's in our careers or personal achievements, breaking free from this way of thinking is liberating. Spiritually awakened individuals embrace their own unique journey, releasing the stress of constantly competing with others and cultivating a sense of fulfillment and peace with their own progress. Furthermore, those on the spiritual path will move away from materialism. In modern culture, success is often seen as the accumulation of wealth and possessions, but spiritual awakening teaches that true abundance comes from meaningful experiences, personal growth, and nurturing relationships. This shift allows spiritually awakened individuals to focus on what truly enriches their lives, rather than being consumed by the pursuit of material wealth. Reevaluating relationships is another important shift for those undergoing spiritual growth. This process often involves evaluating which relationships support their growth and which relationships drain their energy. Letting go of relationships that no longer serve their spiritual path allows them to cultivate an environment filled with uplifting, supportive people who encourage their personal growth. Mindfulness and self-care also become a priority. In a fast-paced society that often glorifies constant activity and neglects the importance of well-being, spiritually awakened individuals recognize the need to prioritize activities like meditation, reflection, and self-care. By focusing on their mental and emotional health, they find more balance and live with more purpose and clarity. Ultimately, the fear of failure or the unknown begins to fade. Spiritual awakening inspires a sense of confidence and courage, encouraging people to face their fears instead of letting them control their decisions. By embracing uncertainty and stepping out of their comfort zone, spiritually awakened individuals open themselves up to new growth and opportunities. Ultimately, spiritual awakening is about releasing societal expectations and choosing a path that aligns with personal values and inner truth. By letting go of the need for validation, comparison, materialism, and fear, people can live more authentic and fulfilling lives. As you continue on your spiritual journey, reflect on how these changes can help you deepen your connection to yourself and your purpose. If these ideas resonate with you, leave a comment saying, "I am ready to live authentically," to declare your commitment to breaking free from societal norms and living a life that reflects your true self. 7. Material obsession. Many individuals, upon experiencing spiritual awakening, quickly come to the realization that their preoccupation with material wealth and possessions no longer serves their higher purpose. It's not simply about letting go of physical items. It's about embracing a deeper understanding of what truly holds value in life. As Buddha insightfully remarked, attachment is the root of suffering. By releasing the attachment to material goods, you align yourself more closely with the Stoic idea of focusing on what genuinely matters. This shift allows you to face life's challenges with greater calm and perspective, knowing that your worth is not determined by what you own, but by who you are and the intentions you bring to the world. Consider how much energy you invest in acquiring the latest phone, car, or designer clothing. Does this constant pursuit of more add to your peace of mind? Or does it drain your ability to focus on deeper, more meaningful goals? By shifting your attention from accumulating material possessions to fostering inner growth and spiritual enrichment, you open yourself to a life that is more fulfilling and aligned with your true self. Letting go of this fixation creates space for richer experiences and more authentic connections, nurturing both your personal journey and your overall well-being. This idea ties back to the law of attraction, which suggests that what we focus on expands. When you're consumed by the need for material things, you're projecting an energy that craves external validation. On the other hand, when you prioritize inner development and the manifestation of your true desires, you harmonize with a more balanced and satisfying energy. It's about finding joy in the present moment rather than endlessly seeking something outside of yourself. Steve Jobs once said, "The only way to do great work is to love what you do." This principle applies to life as a whole. True fulfillment comes not from what we acquire, but from what we love and value in our lives. Are you ready to explore how freeing yourself from material obsession can elevate your life and align you with your highest potential? If so, comment, "I'm embracing my inner growth," as a commitment to this transformative journey. Let's walk this path together and align ourselves with our true purpose. Reflect on what truly brings joy and fulfillment, and ask yourself if your attachment to material things is preventing you from reaching your full potential. This journey requires acknowledging that your worth is not determined by what you have, but by the energy and intentions you put into the world. As you move forward, remember that growth is a process, not a destination. Allow yourself the freedom to evolve and trust that by releasing material concerns, you will invite more meaningful experiences and deeper connections into your life. When you focus on personal development and the manifestation of your true desires, you not only transform your own life, but also positively impact those around you. The change you seek starts from within, and as you align your actions with your deepest values, you'll find that the universe responds in powerful ways. In this video, we explored 7 key shifts that spiritually awakened people quickly embrace, such as letting go of toxic relationships, releasing the need for control, and moving away from ego-driven desires. These transformations lead to a more peaceful and authentic life, where inner growth takes precedence over societal pressures and material obsessions. As you reflect on these insights, consider how you can apply them to your daily life to foster personal growth and happiness. Which of these changes resonates most with you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us at Spiritual Wisdom for more transformative content on your spiritual journey. The Carl Jung theory that explains DMT entities by Terence McKenna. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Welcome to Spiritual Wisdom. In today's video, the Carl Jung theory that explains DMT entities by Terence McKenna, we explore the mind-bending intersection between Jung's deep psychological insights and McKenna's astonishing experiences with DMT entities. This isn't just theory, it's a mirror to your inner world. What if the beings you encounter aren't just hallucinations, but fragments of your own psyche trying to speak? What if the answers you seek are already within you, waiting to be unlocked? As you listen, ask yourself, have you ever experienced something beyond explanation in a dream, a vision, or a deep moment of meditation? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's explore this mystery together. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you believe true growth begins within. 1. The mystery of the entities encountered. The question that stirs both wonder and discomfort remains: who or what do people encounter in the DMT dimension? Terence McKenna didn't offer a single answer because there isn't one. Instead, he pointed to the mystery itself. He suggested that reality might not be as solid or singular as we assume. Perhaps running alongside our familiar world is another alternate plane brimming with sentient, intelligent life. Not human, not an animal. Something else entirely. McKenna described these beings as machine elves, entities that speak in light and geometry. They don't use words, but rather shape, sound, and symbolic motion, a language that bypasses logic and speaks straight to the soul. These elves seem intent on communication, showing, teaching, even urging. The entire encounter feels like a sacred unveiling, as if they are revealing something already known but long forgotten. The experience is intimate, yet alien, playful, yet deeply wise. Carl Jung's voice enters here not to deny these beings, but to deepen our understanding of them. Jung explored how the human psyche contains not only the personal unconscious, but also the collective unconscious, a vast reservoir of archetypes and symbolic forms shared across humanity. Within this collective realm are psychic forces so powerful they can manifest as distinct identities. In his study of Goethe's Faust, Jung paid particular attention to the Kibiri, or alchemical children, who represent transformative elements in the psyche. He considered these figures to be autonomous psychic fragments, expressing themselves through the symbolic theater of the inner world. This leads to a radical possibility. What if these DMT entities are not beings from another universe, but emissaries from within? What if, in states of heightened consciousness, we encounter parts of ourselves so ancient, so powerful, and so unintegrated that they appear to be other? The mystical becomes psychological. The alien becomes intimate. The elves may not be out there, they may be in here. In daily life, we repress intuition, avoid emotions, ignore dreams, and fear silence. The ego clings to the known, the familiar, the controlled. But Jung warned, that what we repress does not vanish. It lives on in the shadow, waiting to be seen. He wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." When the veil thins, whether through trauma, psychedelic experience, deep meditation, or even art, those hidden elements emerge. Consider the modern professional who's burned out, disconnected, uninspired. One afternoon, they retreat from the noise of life and sit alone with their thoughts. No substances, no distractions. And suddenly, visions arise, memories, symbols, even presences. Are they hallucinations? Or long-forgotten parts of the soul speaking through archetypal form? The experience mirrors the DMT state, contact with something bigger, wiser, older, and strangely familiar. McKenna and Jung, though speaking different languages, psychedelia and psychology arrive at the same doorway. Behind that door is the self, not as ego, but as totality. Light and shadow, known and unknown, human and divine. Spiritual awakening, in this context, is not the escape from reality, but the courageous journey deeper into it. And on that journey, we must be willing to meet the beings, both beautiful and terrifying, that live within our own unconscious. These inner encounters aren't distractions or delusions. They are initiations. Each one brings us closer to wholeness. The entities, whether real or symbolic, serve the same purpose: to awaken us, to remind us, and to return us to the source. Through Carl Jung's insights and McKenna's bold explorations, we're invited to look inward, to listen more closely, and to respect the wild, mysterious depths of the human psyche. Have you ever encountered something unexplainable that made you question reality itself? If so, share your experience in the comments below so others can reflect and learn. If not, comment, "I'm open to the mystery," and join us as we explore the unknown together. 2. First possibility, a parallel universe. One compelling theory suggests that our understanding of reality is not just limited, but fundamentally flawed. According to Terence McKenna, what we call normal is only a thin layer of perception, and beyond it lies an invisible dimension, a parallel universe filled with intelligent beings who use a kind of living language to create objects. These aren't metaphors. These entities, often referred to as elves, appear during powerful DMT experiences. They are vivid, interactive, and astonishingly conscious. They don't speak in words, but in shimmering vibrations that manifest as objects, structures, even entire worlds. McKenna insists that this realm isn't a hallucination. It's not an illusion. It's a hidden domain of consciousness that exists just beyond the veil. And DMT is the key that breaks you through. Carl Jung's psychological framework provides profound context for this. Jung described the psyche as a deep and multi-layered structure, containing not only personal memories, but also a collective unconscious, an inherited pool of symbols, myths, and archetypes. Within this realm live what Jung called autonomous psychic elements, forces within the psyche that operate independently of the ego. He studied these in great depth, especially through alchemical texts. One example is the Kaberi mysterious, childlike beings that appear in the third act of Faust, associated with transformation and deep psychic alchemy. Jung saw them as real manifestations of psychological truth, symbols of powerful internal shifts. If we look closely, these alchemical children are not so different from the DMT entities. Both seem to emerge from a deeper layer of reality. Both appear during states of transformation. Both possess a kind of intelligence that seems to know us better than we know ourselves. Jung would argue that these aren't just hallucinations or random visions, they are mirrors. Mirrors reflecting forgotten parts of our own being. In his view, the unconscious mind is not a dead storage of memories. It is alive. It dreams. It creates. It warns. And it heals. When people meet DMT entities, they may actually be meeting these autonomous fragments archetypes clothed in mystery surfacing to deliver a spiritual message or initiate a rite of passage. McKenna described the experience as more real than waking life. He believed that the language of these entities was performative. It didn't describe reality, it produced it. That mirrors Jung's idea that symbols from the unconscious are not passive. They actively shape our lives. What we repress, ignore, or forget in the waking world becomes amplified in the inner one. When we step into altered states, we enter a realm where psychological truth takes form, sometimes in the shape of guides, watchers, or creators who challenge us to expand. At that moment, we're not just observers. We're participants in a cosmic dialogue. The connection between Jung's depth psychology and McKenna's DMT explorations is not just theoretical, it's spiritual wisdom in motion. The idea that there is more to existence than meets the eye isn't fantasy. It's a message repeated through mythology, mysticism, and now psychedelic science. These encounters invite us to question our reality, our identity, and our purpose. They invite us to see that consciousness is vast, intelligent, and possibly interconnected with dimensions far beyond the physical. This spiritual wisdom isn't reserved for philosophers or psychonauts. It belongs to anyone brave enough to question the surface and descend into the deeper currents of the soul. Comment below. I am open to new dimensions. If you're ready to explore the mysteries of parallel worlds and hidden realms. 3. Second possibility. Carl Jung's psychological explanation. Carl Jung's psychological interpretation offers a profound lens through which to view the mysterious entities encountered in DMT experiences. Rather than labeling these beings as external aliens or interdimensional visitors, Jung suggested that they may, in fact, be autonomous psychic fragments, splinters of the unconscious mind that have broken away from the control of the ego. These psychic energies, which Jung often explored through the symbolism of alchemy, are not hallucinations in the dismissive sense. They are living symbols, deeply rooted in the architecture of the psyche, often taking on form during altered states to deliver a message or reveal something previously hidden. During his study of alchemy, Jung explored characters like the Kibiri and the homunculi, mysterious, childlike figures who emerge in symbolic rituals. He interpreted them as archetypal energies that represent the early, undeveloped stages of consciousness, parts of ourselves that are still evolving. These energies can manifest as tricksters, guides, or even chaotic forces when the conscious mind is bypassed, such as in deep meditation, dreams, or psychedelic states. In this view, DMT does not create these entities, it reveals them. The veil thins, and you find yourself standing face to face with the hidden contents of your own psyche. This perspective radically shifts the way we understand spiritual phenomena. Instead of chasing the external, Jung's theory invites us inward. The so-called machine elves, jesters, or celestial architects may not be foreign beings at all, but symbolic expressions of our deepest wounds, forgotten memories, and repressed potentials. These psychic elements carry intelligence because they come from the part of us that is ancient and primal, yet deeply knowing. They do not speak with logic, they speak with metaphor, image, and emotional force. And that is why they feel real. Because they are real, not in the physical sense, but in the psychological and spiritual sense that truly matters. Jung believed that a spiritual awakening could not happen without this direct confrontation with the unconscious. He wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." In this light, DMT experiences are not escapes from reality, but intense encounters with the blueprint of your own being. These entities, if you allow them, can serve as inner mirrors, reflecting back what the conscious ego has denied. They represent the beginning of integration. They are not enemies. They are invitations. When people describe meeting entities who feel like teachers, creators, or tricksters, they are often describing encounters with symbolic layers of their own consciousness. The reason these figures seem so vivid is because they come from a part of the mind that is unbound by time, language, or identity, the archetypal layer Jung spent his life decoding. These experiences, while bizarre, are not meaningless. They are psychic initiations, often signaling the start of a deep transformation. Spiritual awakening is not about bypassing pain or floating in light. It is about entering the inner wilderness and returning with wisdom. What you see on DMT is not just strange geometry or alien life. It may be your psyche, projected in its purest form. The challenge is to interpret, not escape. To listen, not fear. Because in doing so, you reclaim the fragments of yourself that have long awaited your return. If you're ready to explore the hidden depths of your unconscious mind, don't hesitate to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's uncover these inner mysteries together. 4. The psyche as fragmented consciousness. The psyche, as Carl Jung saw it, is not a singular, orderly structure. It is a mysterious, layered realm of images, forces, and forgotten voices. When pushed beyond ordinary consciousness, especially through profound experiences like DMT, the mind doesn't simply expand, it breaks open. And what spills out is not something foreign, but fragments of yourself. Think of mercury dropped onto a surface. It doesn't disappear. It scatters into many glimmering pieces. Each drop reflects light, dances, separates, yet still belongs to the same whole. The same is true for your consciousness. When the ego loses its grip, what emerges are these sparkling fragments of the soul, each taking on a shape, a personality, a message. These are the so-called DMT entities. Terence McKenna described them as self-transforming machine elves, playful beings of impossible intelligence that speak in color and emotion. But from Jung's perspective, they are something far deeper. He believed that the unconscious is populated with autonomous psychic elements, symbolic beings that behave independently, because they come from parts of your mind long disowned or unintegrated. He wrote about the Kibiri, strange spirit children from alchemical visions, and the homunculus, the little symbolic man created in the alchemist's flask. These weren't fantasy characters. They were inner realities, representations of psychic energy that had gained form because the conscious mind could no longer contain them. In modern life, these psychic fragments don't just appear in altered states, they show up in everyday emotional turmoil. After a heartbreak, after failure, in moments of deep exhaustion, you don't feel like one person anymore. You feel like many. The hopeful part wants to try again. The wounded part wants to hide. The angry part lashes out. Each is a living voice within you. each trying to make sense of your pain. DMT doesn't invent these voices. It simply strips away the filters that keep them in the dark. What you see in that space may look like elves, guides, or alien beings, but they're all mirrors. Mirrors of your hidden beliefs, memories, fears, and longings. Carl Jung taught that the unconscious is not just a shadow, it is also the source of great light. What you meet in that psychedelic space may feel like a separate being, but it carries your emotional tone, your stories, your unresolved truths. These encounters are invitations. They are not distractions from reality. They are pathways into the core of your being. As Jung famously said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The machine elf may not just be showing you a cosmic joke. It may be revealing a fragment of your forgotten self. And that self is asking to be seen, heard, and welcomed home. In this way, the DMT experience becomes a sacred ritual of integration. It's not about visiting another world. It's about returning to the inner world that you've ignored. The elves are not invaders. They are invitations. They ask you, which parts of you have been abandoned? Which truths have been buried? What part of your soul has been begging for reintegration? Carl Jung's insights into the psyche give these encounters meaning. They remind you that what you fear, resist, or mock in the psychedelic space may be the very key to your healing. Healing is not a linear path. It's a spiral. Every step forward requires a return into the self, into the wound, into the unconscious. The spilled mercury must be gathered drop by drop, and every so-called entity you meet may be holding a piece of your wholeness in its hands, not to terrify you, but to remind you you were never truly broken, only scattered, and every part is waiting for your return. Are you ready to explore the hidden fragments of your own mind? If so, comment below. I will reflect to show your commitment to this powerful inner journey. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts. Let's rediscover the pieces of our consciousness together. 5. Third possibility: extraterrestrials via mind, not spaceships. The third possibility, and perhaps the most unsettling, is that these beings are not products of fantasy or hallucination, but actual extraterrestrials who travel not in spaceships, but through the corridors of consciousness. They bypass space-time entirely, communicating and appearing through the realm of the mind. This perspective shifts everything. Instead of coming from distant galaxies in metal crafts, they exist in dimensions that interface directly with human perception, revealing themselves during altered states like those triggered by DMT. They don't knock on the front door of reality. They appear inside it. Terence McKenna believed that these entities are not mere projections of the subconscious, but autonomous intelligences inhabiting a parallel realm, accessible through altered states. Carl Jung, too, left a trail of breadcrumbs that lead us here. He spoke of autonomous psychic elements within the psyche that behave as if they have their own will. In Faust, Jung analyzed the appearance of the Kibiri, the mystical alchemical children that represent hidden transformative energies. These beings, like the machine-like elves seen during DMT trips, are not just myth or metaphor. They are living forces within the psyche that seem to act independently, even communicating with the conscious mind. From a standpoint of spiritual wisdom, these encounters represent more than mystery. They signify an invitation to awaken to the multidimensional nature of reality, to step outside the narrow materialist model that limits all intelligence to biology and brain chemistry. These beings may not be separate from us. They may be higher fragments of the self, aspects of consciousness reaching from the beyond to initiate growth, healing, or revelation. In many ancient traditions, spirit guides, devas, or celestial teachers are said to reach humanity through dreams and vision. DMT may simply open that same door suddenly, vividly, and overwhelmingly. If we think of the mind as a tuning device, then most of us are locked onto a single static channel, the waking, everyday world. But psychedelics, near-death experiences, or deep meditation momentarily turn the dial, revealing new frequencies, and on those frequencies, other intelligences may reside. They don't require spacecraft because their medium is vibration, thought, energy. To the ordinary mind, this is nonsense. But to the spiritually awakened mind, this is the language of transformation. Carl Jung once said, "Enlightenment doesn't come by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." These beings may represent precisely that the mystery within us trying to reach the surface, not to frighten, but to guide. McKenna suggested that perhaps these entities aren't truly other, but parts of ourselves that we've forgotten. Their alienness isn't proof of their foreignness. It's a mirror reflecting how far we've strayed from the full spectrum of human consciousness. And this is where spiritual awakening begins, not in some cosmic arrival, but in reclaiming the inner realms we've been trained to ignore. True contact, in this framework, isn't about lights in the sky, but about light in the soul. The beings encountered through consciousness may be archetypal emissaries from the collective unconscious, or maybe even our own potential greeting us from a higher timeline. This is not science fiction. This is spiritual wisdom at its edge, calling us to explore consciousness not as an effect of the brain, but as a gateway to the cosmos. The real question is not whether aliens exist out there, but whether you're brave enough to meet the ones waiting inside. Do you believe consciousness could be the true vehicle for contact? If so, declare it in the comments. I believe in mind-traveling beings. Let's explore this mystery together. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you won't miss what's coming next. 6. Why this medium? We don't know. Why do they appear this way? Why this particular form? This surreal medium of communication that feels more like a hallucinated riddle than a coherent message. No one truly knows. Terence McKenna posed this question with a touch of playful sarcasm, wondering aloud if people expected a star catalog number, some official ID, or galactic coordinates to verify these beings. But that's the beauty of it. They can't be measured, labeled, or located on any physical map. They emerge from a space where logic fails and symbols rule, where the language is emotional, intuitive, and archetypal. That alone suggests their purpose isn't to be understood by the rational mind, but to disrupt it. Carl Jung would likely argue that what we're encountering aren't others in the extraterrestrial sense, but are autonomous fragments of the psyche archetypal forces that have become personified. In deep psychedelic states, especially under the influence of DMT, these forces gain shape, personality, and presence. They speak in riddles, gestures, and impossible geometries. They are the living expressions of parts of ourselves we've never met until the veil is ripped away. Jung referred to such inner forces as autonomous complexes, powerful inner personalities that function independently of the conscious ego. During a spiritual awakening, these forces don't whisper, they roar. And DMT tears open the psychic membrane so you can witness the parade of your soul. The medium, whether jesters, machine elves, or kaleidoscopic entities, isn't random. It's symbolic. Just like dreams are packed with coded meaning, these beings reflect inner material trying to make its way into consciousness. McKenna often described their language as a visible, three-dimensional medium, where words become objects and objects become messages. It's not language in the traditional sense. It's consciousness speaking to itself in its most primal, mythological form. And when it arrives, it bypasses the intellect and strikes straight at the soul. That is the signature of a true spiritual awakening. The real question isn't what they are. The real question is, what do they reveal about you? About the hidden architecture of your inner world. Because when you're in their presence, the boundary between self and other becomes meaningless. What you're witnessing may not be otherworldly at all. It might be ultra-worldly. It might be the sacred intelligence of your own unconscious mind finally rising to the surface. In those moments, what appears as an alien is actually the divine in disguise, confronting you with your deepest truths in a form your ego cannot control. And perhaps that's why this mysterious, strange, and often whimsical medium is necessary. It bypasses resistance. You can't argue with a glowing fractal jester who rearranges time and speaks in emotions. You just feel it. You surrender to it. That surrender, in itself, is the transformation. That is the moment the spiritual wisdom lands not as knowledge, but as direct experience. These entities are not teachers in the way we expect. They're mirrors, tricksters, initiators. Their message isn't verbal, it's existential. They don't explain the mystery, they are the mystery. To experience them is to step beyond the edge of the known, to confront something that is at once ancient and intimate, cosmic and internal. They are the threshold guardians of the psyche, the keepers of a language beyond form. And when they speak, they invite you to see that your spiritual awakening isn't about answers. It's about learning to live inside the question. If you're fascinated by the unexplainable, hit subscribe and join us as we explore mysteries that logic alone can't decode. 7. Current theory: the realm of the dead. Terence McKenna's most recent theory brings a haunting clarity to the DMT experience. It feels eerie, not because it's chaotic or bizarre, but because it might actually be the realm of the dead. The space entered under the influence of DMT isn't just a hallucination. It may be a literal ecology of souls. These entities, often perceived as intelligent, autonomous, and hyper-aware, may not be figments of the imagination, but actual souls of the deceased, existing in a parallel reality that runs alongside our own. They form a dynamic, interactive spiritual network that transcends time, space, and bodily form, a place where the consciousness of the departed continues, evolves, and perhaps even guides. Carl Jung's psychology gives this theory a deeper foundation. Jung proposed that the human psyche contains not only personal memories and experiences, but also a collective unconscious, a shared reservoir of archetypes, symbols, and ancestral knowledge. He spoke of autonomous psychic fragments, energies within the unconscious that behave as separate personalities. He studied the Kabiri, alchemical figures that appeared in visions and dreams, describing them as elemental spirits that emerged during transformative states. These psychic fragments, Jung believed, were not merely symbolic, but alive in their own way, much like the entities encountered in the DMT state. He didn't view them as random projections, but as legitimate expressions of a multidimensional psychic reality, a reality that extends beyond death. Consider how often, in ordinary life, people report feeling the presence of lost loved ones during dreams, moments of silence, or intense grief. These encounters feel conscious, as if the departed were reaching across some invisible boundary. Traditional psychology calls this closure-seeking, but through the lens of McKenna and Jung, these experiences may be glimpses into a larger, persistent realm of consciousness. DMT doesn't create these beings, it reveals them. It peels back the veil and exposes the spiritual infrastructure behind existence itself. In our modern culture, death is often reduced to finality, but indigenous traditions, ancient mystery schools, and mystical religions have long insisted that the dead do not disappear. They relocate. They evolve into something subtler. McKenna's theory reinvigorates this wisdom. He believes that the DMT realm is a kind of spiritual archive, a domain where souls live on, forming complex ecosystems that interact with human consciousness. Jung's near-death experiences and inner visions support this. He once described looking down on Earth from space, guided by spiritual intelligences that felt more real than anything on the physical plane. He knew that death was not an end. It was a symbolic transformation of the soul. This changes everything. The entities encountered during a DMT trip may not be dream characters or psychological splinters. They could be ancestral presences, archetypal forces, or disembodied humans who have crossed over but remain active in the psychic field. These experiences suggest a cosmology where life and death are not opposites, but parts of a unified continuum. The spiritual awakening here lies in realizing that consciousness isn't bound to neurons. It's a fundamental fabric of the universe, shared across the living and the dead. If we accept this theory, then what we call death may simply be migration. The ego dies, but awareness persists. The body dissolves, but the soul shifts to a new vibrational domain. Jung and McKenna both point to this truth using different languages, psychoanalysis and psychedelia, but converge on the same message. The veil is thin, and the journey continues. If this resonates with your soul, and you feel the truth within, repeat after me. I am open to the unseen realms. I receive this message with clarity and trust. I honor the wisdom of the beyond. 8. Reluctance to accept it, but it makes sense. The speaker confesses that at first, he resisted what was unfolding. It didn't align with any framework he had previously accepted. It felt too strange, too foreign, too irrational. But eventually, resistance gave way to something deeper, a recognition that what he was experiencing wasn't a product of imagination, but a revelation. It wasn't conjured by the mind. It wasn't fiction. It was something shown to him consistently, unmistakably, undeniably through direct experience. And when something is shown that clearly, again and again, a part of you begins to understand. You are no longer the one constructing meaning. You are the one being initiated into it. This surrender to what is revealed rather than invented is the very heart of spiritual wisdom. Carl Jung spoke often of these inner phenomena forces that rise up from the unconscious with lives of their own. He described them as autonomous psychic elements, symbols and figures that behave with intention, that disrupt the ego, that carry a message from something far older than the self. In Jung's vision, these aren't just mental projections. They're reflections of an inner reality as vast and layered as the outer world. McKenna's DMT entities, the beings who greeted him in that hyperspace realm, aligned strikingly with Jung's archetypes, mysterious, intelligent, symbolic forms that appear not to entertain, but to teach, to initiate, to reveal. The speaker realizes that the more he tries to rationalize or explain them away, the more foolish it feels. Because these encounters don't just happen once, they repeat, with consistency and precision, to people across cultures, languages, and belief systems. And that consistency is what finally broke through his denial. When a truth is echoed across countless experiences, it becomes more than anecdotal. It becomes archetypal. Jung would say, this is the voice of the collective unconscious speaking through the symbols that the psyche is ready to receive. And this is the turning point, not just in McKenna's experience, but in anyone's spiritual path. What you resist persists. The truth you deny keeps showing up. The moment you stop trying to fit it into your framework, the moment you open yourself to the mystery, that's when the deeper wisdom begins. That's when the psyche softens, the ego steps back, and a greater knowing emerges not as theory, but as spiritual reality. The speaker's journey from resistance to acceptance isn't just about altered states or mystical visions. It's about the profound human tendency to reject what we can't control. But when the soul is ready, even the most stubborn mind must bow. That's the initiation. That's the shift. That's when we stop labeling things as impossible and start listening to what they might be trying to say. In that surrender, in that openness, in that sacred silence between belief and experience, spiritual wisdom lives. Stay connected by subscribing to our channel, where we explore the truths that reveal themselves not through imagination, but through deep experience. You're not alone in this journey of awakening. Remember, sometimes the things we resist the most are the ones our soul needs to hear. 9. Shamanic perspective. These are the ancestors. Across countless indigenous traditions, what modern science calls DMT entities are not anomalies, hallucinations, or strange beings from a separate dimension. From the shamanic perspective, these entities are simply the ancestors, not spirits to fear or decode, but family. Wise, watching, woven into the very fabric of existence. Shamans do not consider contact with these beings as mystical or rare. Instead, they see it as natural, a sacred part of life, death, and the spirit's continuous journey. These encounters, often taking place during altered states through plant medicine, trance, or deep meditation, are not just experiences. They are reunions. In this ancestral worldview, the veil between the physical and the spiritual is thin. The DMT realm is not somewhere else. It is here, beneath the noise, beneath the conditioning, just beyond the conscious mind. And those who appear in this space, the luminous beings, the silent guides, the figures made of symbols and memory, are not strangers. They are echoes of your lineage, carriers of ancient codes, reminders of who you are and where you came from. They do not speak in words. They communicate through knowing. They hold a mirror to the soul. Carl Jung, in his psychological language, spoke of the collective unconscious, a realm of shared memory and inherited archetypes. Jung believed that we are not blank slates. Within us lives every story ever told, every fear ever faced, every wisdom ever passed down. He once said, "The least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it." Through the lens of spiritual awakening, the DMT entity becomes not a hallucination, but a symbolic messenger from this collective space, emerging at the exact moment your soul is ready to remember. Terence McKenna described these beings as self-transforming machine elves, a term both playful and profound. To him, they were not passive. They were active participants in the mystery, inviting you to listen, to learn, to let go of logic and surrender to direct knowledge. They were alive, aware, and deeply invested in our evolution. And what is evolution if not a return to original intelligence, a circle back to what was never lost? For the awakened soul, this understanding offers both comfort and challenge. Comfort in knowing you are not alone, that your guides are not external, but inherited. And challenge in realizing that to receive their wisdom, you must silence the mind, release the ego, and trust the unseen. The ancestors don't knock. They appear when you are still enough to notice. They do not explain. They allow. And in their presence, something ancient in you begins to stir. A true spiritual awakening is not only about light and love. It is about depth, and depth requires roots. These roots do not begin with your childhood. They stretch into lifetimes, into bloodlines, into the bones of the earth itself. The entities you meet are not just part of your journey, they are your inheritance. And when you listen closely, they whisper not just truths, but instructions. They remind you that awakening isn't escape, it's remembrance. And the ones who walk with you are not gods or ghosts, they are kin. If this message has awakened something deep within you, leave a comment of faith. I honor the wisdom of my ancestors. Their presence is guiding me even now. As we continue to explore the mysterious realm of the psyche, the unconscious, and the entities encountered in altered states of consciousness, one thing becomes clear. There is still so much we don't fully understand. Whether these beings are archetypes from the collective unconscious, autonomous psychic fragments, or glimpses into parallel dimensions, the conversation between Carl Jung and Terence McKenna opens a gateway to deeper spiritual inquiry. If this video sparked curiosity or expanded your perspective, please don't forget to like, share it with others who may be seeking truth, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. And be sure to turn on notifications so you never miss an opportunity to dive deeper into the mysteries of the soul and the universe. Until next time, stay open, stay grounded, and keep seeking the truth that lies within.